I consider myself in the solutions business. I said, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved. And so when I started getting into that space of how do I help women become really healthy in their body in terms of weight management and in terms of really even aesthetics, because aesthetics matter to women. How do I get that luster and demeanor back to that skin? How do I get that energy? How do I get that thrive? How do we do that? But we don't want to go to let's get skinny and forget about the other things that make a woman magnetic and beautiful. My practice always focused on how do I give women what they want, but not lose focus of energy, of health and agency. The gut impacts everything. It impacts everything. It really is our second brain in every way. And I knew that
you were onto something.
There was going to be something big with bone broth. And I realized, I guess that was my life's work. That was definitely my life's work, just making consumers and the world aware of an unbelievable way to keep yourself healthy, an unbelievable way to make so many things happen in your life that you don't even think about.
Hi, I'm Katie Miller, and welcome to the Katie Miller Podcast. Today, we're in New York City, joined by Dr. Kellyann Petrucci.
Petrucci, you got it right.
So give us the brief 30 seconds of who you are, what we're doing, and why have you been in the health space for your whole career?
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Kellyann Petrucci, and I help women between 35 and 60 become slimmer, younger, healthier by using all of the most ancient and natural remedies that I can get my hands on, that I can create, that I can ideate to help people really get intrinsically healthy from the inside out. And this has been something I've done my whole life. I was that girl that did not read the bridal magazines. I was reading Mary Tyler Moore, Diabetes Journal from the get-go. I would head right to any bookstore. I'd head to the health section. This is something that was innately put in me, and I'm just lucky enough that I listened. I'm lucky enough that I listened and I knew exactly what I was pulled to do. And it's all I've ever done. And I am so grateful because I love it. And it never gets old, never gets boring. There's always great innovation. There's always research. There's things to learn, things to do. And when you see transformation on people, it's the most incredible thing that you could possibly see.
So how old were you when you launched?
So when I first launched, I studied in Europe for a while.
And was it always the age range of 30 to 60, even when you weren't in that age range?
I always attracted families. And what I found, because mothers would bring their children in all the time and they would want me to help their children with everything that you can imagine. And
were you a family doctor?
I was in a naturopathic medicine and I was in a family clinic. I started out in a family clinic and I got all of the patients from all walks of life. And I heard everything, I saw everything. And what I realized was that women really came in and so many of them felt aimless. And I realized this is an underserved population and culture. This is really underserved. And the suffering that I saw in so many women were typical, and it was very, it was all the same. I would hear the same kind of stories over and over, different derivations, but they would all come in and they would feel the same kinds of symptoms and they would feel the same emotionally. And I thought, gosh, there is a focus here that needs to be had. And so I guess because of that, putting that energy out, I was more inclined to start working with women. And when I started getting into the space of hearing, what is the big problem that they want me to solve? And right now, it is frustrating for women when they feel like there's a certain age where they bonk. They just bonk. They don't feel good. Nothing works.
Is it post-kids?
A lot of times it's post-kids. It's like my old tricks aren't working. Nothing that I used to do works anymore. And so I consider myself in the solutions business. I said, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved. And so when I started getting into that space of how do I help women become really healthy in their body in terms of weight management and in terms of really even aesthetics, because aesthetics matter to women. How do I get that luster and demeanor back to that skin? How do I get that energy? How do I get that thrive? How do we do that? But we don't want to go to let's get skinny and forget about the other things that make a woman magnetic and beautiful, which is really having that high energy, that high health and agency, having that agency. So my practice always focused on how do I give women what they want, but not lose focus of energy, of health and agency.
So did bone broth come first? Because you launched the bone broth diet, right?
I did, and did that really. So my career started out in a very interesting way because I ended up meeting an agent. And back in the day, I hate saying anything that says back in the day, but back in the day when we would go to these seminars and things, you couldn't get in touch with people like you can now on LinkedIn and so forth. So when I came back to the States after going into Europe, and I was talking about things like gut health, please keep in mind, no one was talking about things like gut health yet. And I would say to my patients, I would talk about these various things I learned through the Paracelsus Clinic in Switzerland that were doing very avant-garde things. They would say, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. And I thought, how the heck, I'm in this small town, like, how do I write a book? So I started going to events. First thing I did was I went to the New York Book Show and I started talking to people. And then from there, I talked to people. And I finally got into a room where there were agents. And I was very, very fortunate. You couldn't get near the agents because there were so many people that were grappling for these book deals. You literally couldn't get near these people. So I kept my eye on this one that I knew was a fit. And when he started to leave the room to go to the bathroom, I actually followed him, and I did. And I say that shamelessly, but actually proud at the same time. And what he said to me is, I think you're a stallion and I'm going to take a chance on you. Here is my card. Call me on Monday. And back then, if you got a card, like the seas would part. You got a card. Okay. And I was so proud. I'm leaving with a card. And it was a big thing. And so when I called him on Monday, much to my surprise, this phone call led to, and keep in mind, I had no social media. I had no website, nothing, but this is a legacy literary agent. His father did it. His grandfather did it. He had a sixth sense. And not only did I get a 1-book deal with Wiley Publishing, but I got a 5-book deal with Wiley Publishing. And it was all in the paleo movement, because my career started in paleo, which paleo means just like ancestral nutrition. What works best with your genetics? What's out there?
And what year was this?
And oh my gosh, this was 2000. My first one was published in 2012. So this was in like 2010, 2011, like, way back. And so I wrote these books, and I was one of the first on the market in paleo. And it was such an easy decision for me because it was how I lived my life. And through this whole writing these books, and here's where my whole career happened, I was very lucky that I had the education that I had, because I could pick up on keywords that I knew made a difference. So as I was writing these books, they kept talking about this broth. And I'd studied tribes and bands, and they would kept using this beautiful broth. And then I read a sentence, and it said, Mother Teresa would bring these broths to hospitals to heal their gut, to open their gut to healing. It said, open their gut to healing. That's powerful, because I know what it means to heal, to open your gut and to really heal in that manner. And so I said, okay, I got like 5 books. It just kept happening. What is this stuff? And so I started creating it, and I started making it, and I started testing it. And then I said, this is incredible. What is happening here? I'm going to test this on a larger scale. And I tested it in 3 different cities, and the results were typical. And they pulled a lot of levers. The benefits pulled so many levers that I said, anything that has the compounds in it to achieve this means something, and it's going to be a revolution. And it was.
So when you say gut health and you talk about bone broth, what do you think of now when you see this whole movement of Make America Healthy Again, and people adopt this as the norm instead of as the fringe?
I think that you build an internal strength, because I did not grow up in popular vote at all in my career. Growing up in my career was the hardest thing. Imagine having to prove yourself at every moment, no matter what your education is, no matter what, but your stance, your paradigm, your belief system is such that you are unshakable. I was unshakable. And I knew when I was talking about the things I was talking about, it meant something to the cells because I saw it and I felt it. And I knew the foods that we should be eating and I knew the foods we shouldn't. And through my research, I read something in the New England Journal of Medicine. And this is what made me so strong in my stance. It said, we by design, there are foods as humans we are designed to eat. Make no mistake about it. And it went on to talk about these foods. And it was in the New England Journal of Medicine. Eaton Boyd, I believe, was the author of this published article. And I said, exactly. There are foods that work better with our body and you will operate better on these foods. And that's when I knew, I said, this is what I'm going to make my life effort about. It's talking about these foods and how they can make you feel and how all this other stuff that seems typical and normal, it's not typical and normal for the body. I was talking about healthy fats and, now the seed oil is the big thing. And thank you, RFK. Thank you. And it's a big thing. But guess what? In the paleo movement, one of the things that was most important to me was to explain to people about omega-3 and omega-6 and how these seed oils are destructive to the body.
Have you seen the new studies though, or I've seen new literature that say it's not just seed oils, it's any oil in any, amount that you should really be careful and that it may not be seed oils after all. Have you seen this in the last few weeks?
Here's my stance on that. Your cells have a membrane around their cells and you absolutely need fats for those cells to thrive. And you need this cholesterol, you need these healthy fats for your brain to operate. So we need these fats. So we need some incoming fats. So do we need to be just throw fats in everything all the time? No, you have to be a little fastidious.
Do you think beef tallow is all that it's cracked up to be?
I do like beef tallow a lot. I do, because it's got a lot of those CLAs, those conjugated linoleic acids. I'm a fan of beef tallow, and also it has such a high smoke point that you can just, cook
fry
whatever
things
you want.
in it, and it's not like exploding your. I noticed this last night. I was making French fries for my kids, and I put beef tallow in, and I turned it to high heat. And I was like thinking to myself, oh man, had this been avocado oil, I'd be like smoking out my house right now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's old-fashioned fats is what I love. I call them old-fashioned. Back in the day when, we were told to use butter, yeah, it's great. So how I make my eggs is I use a little bit of, the grass-fed butter. I use a little bit of, little bit of maybe another kind of oil I might mix in. And the eggs taste amazing. And it's really powerful for your cells. And that's the whole thing.
Would you eat a stick of butter?
So I know that people eat sticks of butter.
Yeah, I've seen this, these videos of people bringing a stick of butter on the plane as their snack. I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so for me and the evolution that I've seen in working with so many patients, and so I don't think a stick of butter is the way to go. I think there's humor in that, and I'm great if it works for some people. Go for it. And, eat a jar of tallow, eat a stick of butter. But what I'm saying is just, we need to just know that what we do on an everyday basis, like our everyday hits, that's what's important. So if we're cooking and we're using these oils and we're using them on a regular basis, we need to make sure that they're the healthy old-fashioned fats and the ones with the higher smoke points, because you could have the healthiest oil around. And if you make that oil rancid by cooking with that oil, then your food, it oxidizes. And anytime I hear the word oxidize, I think inflammation. And an inflamed body is the worst position that you can be.
So you wrote 5 books.
I wrote 9.
9 books.
Yeah.
And so what was the first 5?
The first 5 were all about paleo. It was about paleo cooking. It was about living paleo. It was about immunity. It was about paleo fitness, and it was about fasting. And so they were all in that realm. And one book, it's interesting because one book led to another. Like there was one thematic thing that I got from each of the book, and the bone broth diet, which came after the fasting book, that would not have shaped and molded the way it did had I not written that last book. And like everybody in my life had an intervention with me. They're like, 5 books? Are you nuts? Never write another book. And I was getting book butt. And book butt is like like my whole body, like everything I stood for was falling apart because I was sitting in this closed chain, sitting and writing and writing and writing and writing. And I was in my groove and I loved it. And I'm thinking, this is really cool. So I'm, spitting out one book after the other. When I got to the fifth and Bill, the agent, he's like, okay, let's get going on that, the next book. Let's do the fasting book. Literally, there was an intervention to be had. Are you nuts? And when I explored fasting and the value of fasting and different kinds of fasting, that was implemented into the bone broth diet. And the bone broth diet would not have happened had I not been at an event and I had not been sitting next to the big decision maker at Rodell at the time, which was now bought by Penguin Random, but Rodell. And she said, I know about your paleo books. Tell me your next thing. And I thought, oh no, here we go again. And so when I sent her on Monday and I sent her the idea for the book, The Bone Broth Diet, within 30 seconds, I got an email back and it said, we want an exclusive. And I knew that
you were onto something.
There was going to be something big with bone broth.
So launching 9 books, a lot of products.
Yeah.
What experience do you have when things don't go well? For other women out there who are scared to launch their own thing, scared to write a book, what experience do you have when something doesn't go exactly the way you thought and putting yourself out there so publicly?
So I consider myself to be as positive as one can be, but I want to be really straight about this because I think it's important. Expect the crap to hit the fan. It is such an unpleasant thing a lot of the times because building a business and building something big is a personal development situation. That's what it is. You are personally developing your skills as you go along. And man, it's hard. And so you're starting to learn how to navigate and how to figure these things out and how I have been through more than you could imagine. And what you said about putting yourself out there, brutal. And so, but the thing is, you get really strong and you come into your own grace. So it's that whole thing. It's like you build yourself up into a tiger. You build it. And if you can build it, and here's the game. The game is going through all of that and coming out of it with grace and not coming out of it feeling any bitterness or feeling despair or feeling negative, but coming through it with grace. And that has been the whole trajectory for me through everything, learning through all these bobs and weaves that I've had to endure that every business person, every entrepreneur does. I'd love to talk to somebody who hasn't. Because you're learning everything about business and you're learning about negotiation and you're learning about interaction, you're learning about your environment and you're learning about, when you're doing what I did and you're in your basement, you're figuring this stuff out on your own, you're trying to figure out how much product am I supposed to buy? I don't know. I don't know how, like the projections and if I buy this much, am I going to be able to pay the people that work for me? How do I do? And then entering into retail, that was one of the biggest, I would say, smacks that I ever received because all the money I made in the business, I put back in the business. And then I had this offer to go into CVS and it was Vital Proteins, Bulletproof, and myself. And all I thought about was, oh my God, I completely got into ego. I'll tell you that right now. I did. I thought, oh my God, they came to me. Here I am, Dr. Kellyann. I'm in my basement. I'm doing this stuff. CVS came to me. Did I ever learn really quick the skill sets that you need to go into retail and to not have a force behind you and I had no investors, anything at that time. And so that was the first real business education I got. Learning the difference between where do you want to go in your business? How do you project these? What numbers are important? I had to learn about things like, CAGR. I had to learn about things like how much does a customer cost to acquire?
They say these terms in Shark Tank as if they're like common, when in reality they're not.
They're actually not. Like you have to figure out, like if you put an ad out there, what is your ROAS? What is your return on ad spend? Is that making sense? And what is your retention model? Are you able to retain people? So how do you acquire new people? How do you get the cost that's a measurable cost? that makes sense? And how do you retain these people? So it's this loop that you constantly have to do. Plus you're trying to innovate. So if you're in my position and you are the lead talent of your business, and so you're trying to make sure that you're innovating. And to me, innovating always meant solving problems. It was not about jumping on a trend. It's about what problem needs to be solved. And because my feet were on the ground and I was around women and I listened to women for so many years, I felt like I had a different ear. And, bone broth in and of itself was a huge task, Katie, because I couldn't even get anyone to want to call it bone broth. When I first came out with the bone broth diet, the publisher said, well, this is you can't call it bone broth, though. You know that. That's not sexy. You can't call it bone broth. So, but it's bone broth.
And now it's like a whole thing.
Now, when you walked out, so it commercialized. So the PBS special that I had and the book really did start, it ignited a movement for sure. And when you go down to into retail stores and you see it everywhere, and I realized, I guess that was my life's work. That was definitely my life's work, just making consumers and the world aware of an unbelievable way to keep yourself healthy, an unbelievable way to make so many things happen in your life that you don't even think about.
So there was a Netflix documentary recently on The Biggest Loser and talking about how important exercise is for your health, right? Or not in that case. But there really wasn't a lot shown on the show about what you eat and what you put into your body. I think there's always that split. It's either an exercise show or a food show. There really isn't something that talks about nutrition and then how to make yourself fit from that, right? The calorie deficit and what goes into that, because you can be very strong, but also not be the healthiest as you talked about because of your gut health. What would be, how do you educate more people, as you've done in the bone broth space, about the importance of gut nutrition and gut health and your overall what you put in and how it reflects on your body?
Well, thanks to platforms that we have now, like X, TikTok, I cannot believe what I see now. I hear young people talking about longevity devices. I hear them talking about biohacking. I hear them talking about gut health. What
was the first time you heard something you're like, aha, I've been saying this my whole life?
Oh my gosh. I was at a gym and it was a bunch of young women and they were talking about bone broth. And they were talking about, I use it because of, I used to get acne. I don't get acne anymore. And then anyway, one of the women in the circle said, well, it's all about gut health. Drop the dumbbell. But you see, I always want to insert myself everywhere. Yeah. I'll give you an example of something that just happened the other day. I was at a place called Cha-Cha Matcha. It's on Madison Avenue here in New York. And I love the matcha there. And so a woman was there with her daughter and they were ordering this matcha. And so she's like, this is like you're eating cake. Do you understand this? You can't have it with this. And this has got a lot of sugar in there. And sometimes I just can't keep myself contained. So I inserted myself and I said, I just want to let you know, this is probably the matcha that you should order. And blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me explain to you. And I went and explained it and as I was walking out, she goes, I know you. Where have I heard about you before? And I just said bone broth. And she went, Dr. Kellyann. I said, yes, bone broth. And so I can't help but to insert myself in different places when I know just that little bit of information is going to make a big difference. And so when I walk down aisles in grocery stores and when I go to gyms or I go anywhere, it doesn't even have to be a gym. It can be anywhere. Everyone now is talking about health. Mm-hmm. Everyone. And a lot of it has to do with MAHA. A lot of it has to do with TikTok. A lot of it has to do with X. People feel free to speak. And doctors, that functional medicine doctors that really have their pulse, because not only do they have that medical background, but they went well beyond to talk about and to learn about things that really a lot of people wouldn't put time in. And now we're going through this whole thing that they're going to establish that doctors have to have certain amount of hours in nutrition. I mean, have you ever gone to a hospital and sat there with somebody that was sick and you're trying to get them better and the food and the choices?
It's terrible in the hospital.
We got to get better. We got to get better. Even in the type of ingredients, you go to Italy and it's this old, axiom tenet. Everyone says it all the time. Why can I eat the pasta there? Why can I go to France and eat a croissant? Why can I, we have got to get better, and our food freedom will expand. And it's going to make it so much easier for everyone. And now's the time. Everyone's ripe. We literally have people perched now. Yeah. Perched, saying, give me more, give me more. I've never been so popular at dinner parties. Never. Everyone wants to know everything. What peptide? Peptides? What are peptides? Are they good? Are they bad? Tell me about the weight loss.
So has collagen always been a thing, or is it just a new thing? It's collagen, protein, right, and exercise, and that we're all now supposed to be eating, like, I think Bethany Frankel had something where she's like putting cottage cheese mixed in her eggs and making fun of everyone who's like keeps high proteining like everything that has protein in it.
I will tell you this. Women need to stop focusing so much on salads, and they need to focus more on protein.
Has that always been the thing, or is that like just the latest in the new diet trends?
No, and this actually is a requirement of the body, because we know so much now about muscle and longevity that it's incredibly important, but it goes further than that. Because when you're going through perimenopause or menopause, anything like that, your body demands and it requires that heavy load.
Do you believe in the weighted vest?
I love the weighted vest. Everyone, whoever's listening, go out and get a weighted vest. I'm telling you, because we need that load. We need that load because we start to, especially as we go on in years, we start to lose that framework that we have. And we got everything in longevity is about building, keeping ourselves upbuild. Your cells always want to turn over. Your organs, everything, it's all about turnover and regeneration. Keep turning things over, keep regenerating. And so the weighted vest is as simple as it sounds. It does that for your bone matrix. It helps keep that bone matrix going.
So talking about things that are important, your water. This is not just for set. So you drink how much water in a day with lemons? Do you put collagen in it?
So I have a lot of water only because what I've learned, I used to look at all kinds of things under a microscope all the time. And what you want to do is you want to have if you think about your internal milieu, your insides, you want to have flowing like a river. You don't want to have cells stuck together like a swamp, because so many of the things our body feels, it's because it's dehydrated. And you don't want your body to get into a state of dehydration. So I drink a lot of water. I'll drink, a couple of these a day. And
how much collagen do you put in?
I usually put like 2 scoops of collagen in my water, or I have something called lemon sips, which are electrolytes and collagen, all of that. And they're delicious. I throw those in there. I always want to compound everything.
Do you put creatine?
So I use creatine. I cycle creatine. So some people love creatine. It's very good for you. It's like the hot thing.
Do you think it works as the hot thing right now?
I think it's effective. I think people use it for everything, from muscle building to recovery. Even people I hear using it for things like travel. It makes traveling a lot easier, because when you're going in different time zones, it helps a lot. So people are using it for jet lag, all kinds of things. For me, I cycle it. So I'll do it for a couple of days, and then I'll take a couple of days off, and I'll do it for a couple of days. So I'm not on the everyday regular with that, but a lot of people are, and they love it.
Do you think it makes you bloat?
I think it depends. So this is the question. So some people think it does. Some people think it doesn't. And from the education I'm learning, is that it depends on the type of product you use. And so for me, it does a little bit. It does a little, and that's why I cycle it. And when I cycle it, it's fine. It works great. And I know that everyone that takes it that I know, and I know all the functional medicine docs that love it, they do feel a lot better when they take it. Energy. They feel a lot more energy. So
in terms of your water, when you're out and about, do you only search for a glass bottled water? Do you drink plastic bottled water? What do you do?
Glass is so important. We know this because of the microplastics, and we're learning about this. I'm not 100%. Okay, because sometimes I'll grab plastic if I have to grab plastic, but I also carry around this a thermos thing that I have that's steel and stainless steel, and I'll use that, and I'll just carry that around with me a lot, so I don't have to grab the plastic. So the plastic is only when my back's against the wall. But we have to you just have to be conscious about it. You have to consciously say, I know that there's a lot of microplastics in this, and I have to cut back. And so for me, I can't be crazy all the time. I can't, because sometimes it's more important for me to get the liquid, to get the fluids. But I'm conscious about it. And I think that's the important thing, Katie, is that just to have that awareness that whenever I can, I got to cut back on that.
At what point in your career did you have your 2 boys?
I have 2 boys.
At what point did you have them?
I had them, early on in my career, but I had them right before everything kind of hit. So when everything kind of hit with the bone broth diet and all of that and writing the books, they were very young. So there were baseball games to be missed. So I had them. So that balancing act was definitely, it was definitely something that weighs, I think, on a lot of moms. It did me.
Does it still weigh on you?
Yeah, it does a little bit, but here's what I've learned. I have 2 outstanding young men. And my example, if I sat my kids down one day and I said, look, guys, I know that I'm working a lot, and, I'm always going to be there for you. And you're always going to be able to get in touch with me at every minute, but your mom's going for it. And I told them straight up that I want to squeeze all my purpose, and I'm going for it in life. And you have a front seat at watching someone in life that's going to go for it. And I will tell you, that has always been my reason why I push through a lot of hardships in business, because failure is not an option. It's not an option. And if I do fail, it's going to be temporary, because I'm going to get right back up and I'm going to go, because I want them to see that trend of entrepreneurialism, and I want them to see it in the most positive light that I can. So I'm going to do whatever I can.
Do they eat healthy now? And
they do
subscribe to a lot of what you subscribe to?
Yes. And the lead by example thing really is the way to go. They saw me always eating well. It was always offered, on the table. And the one thing that my family did right is my kids always did have dinner. They always did have a dinner. And I do think if there's one thing, if I was going to look at all of the trials and tribulations of parenthood, that was one thing that was very important. And it wasn't always me at the table, but they always had a dinner. And I'm really happy I did that. That's one thing I feel real, because I see them in their choices now. They care. They care a lot about what they eat. And they're really healthy and successful young men because of that. And they're good people. They're good people, Katie. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to raise good people.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that, because you got a lot of variables today.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be. And I remember someone saying, well, I just don't let my son have the computer in his room. It's in the hallway. And now
then you have YouTube TV.
Now forget about it. You stand no chance. There's a lot of operatives that are in the mark. So
there's a lot of teachers, a lot of other influences on kids' lives now, even with social media.
A lot of influences. So you just have to lead by example and do the best you can. But I think having kids watch someone that was very purposeful, very driven, and I make no mistake about it, I'm a very ambitious person. I'm very ambitious, and I cannot change that. That is who I am. And just like I had an ambition to be the best mom that I could be, I have an ambition to make an impact on the world with health. And you had said earlier, how does it feel to be an OG out there and seeing everything you espoused years ago, 30 years ago, now it's actually coming into play. And the reason why I was able to fight that stream is because I really believe in what I'm talking about, and I walk the talk. And I know how important this is. And this is just a mission that I have, to make sure that I help people understand lifestyle is everything, and life can still be good and rich and wholesome and beautiful, even though all this.
So you said you've been doing this for 30 years, right?
27.
27. So diet and fitness trends, definitely, you've seen them come and go and come and go again. Mm-hmm. Right now it's all protein, creatine, weighted vest walking. Okay, rate the diet and fad trends over the last the fad diet trends over the last 20 years.
Okay.
Keto.
I would say keto is a 7.
Why?
So 1 to 10, right? So
Yeah.
1 being terrible, 10 being, or 1.
What's wrong with the keto diet?
I don't think keto is for everyone, and I don't think it's necessarily long term. And you're going to hear a lot of people say, but this happened to me on that diet. And that's great, because we have to kick in the metabolism. We're only as good as our metabolism. So many of the things and many of the choices that we do are metabolism based. So that diet will help kick some people into the right fat burning. Awesome. Wonderful. But for a woman who's going through a lot of hormonal issues, it may not be the best. Just like CrossFit and box jumping and wall balls and everything else may not be the best for somebody who is in has adrenal issues.
Paleo.
10.
Intermittent fasting.
It depends. I would say that's an 8.
Atkins diet.
I would say that's, pork rinds, and I would say that's a 6.
Do you think people should still do it?
I think that there are benefits to parts of the diet, and it did get people protein centric. Okay, so there are other things, just like with bone broth or anything else, you have to realize they're taking out a lot of junk that harm them. There's, what was a diet that was eat right for your body type? And, there was all this acclaim about, they broke down your blood type, whether you were a B positive or an A and I say there's benefits to everything, because it got people off a lot of grains. So.
Veganism.
I'm not a fan. And here's why I'm not a fan. Because when I used to do a lot of blood work, and I used to see the blood work of vegan versus people who had a more sustainable type of diet, or I should say they included more variety of foods, their blood work was better. And by the way, I just want to let you know that I went through every trend myself. Like I did it all. I did it all. I mean, I was doing spray vitamins back in I did it all.
What's the best one?
For me, I like a paleo-ish diet. There's a lot of advantages of like a paleo-ish, Mediterranean-ish.
What's the worst one?
I would say the worst one of all, the low fat trend was probably
What's the worst product you purchased that you're like, this wasn't worth it?
Overall, like beauty, health, all of it. That's a great question. That is a great question, because I've purchased so many bombs in my life. I've purchased so many bombs. I would say the worst thing that I've ever purchased, and my gosh. So there's a lot of advantages to like oxygen chambers, and people go. So I got one of those oxygen chambers that you kind of zip.
Uh-huh.
This was like people
before the oxygen chambers were like a thing.
The hard chamber,
before Kylie Jenner was hopping in her oxygen chamber.
Yes. So I got one of those. So I thought I'm in on this, and I'm going to get one that you zip.
Yeah.
And boy, I could not. That was the worst thing ever. I felt like I was having a panic attack the entire time. Whatever benefits I got from oxygen, it wasn't worth it.
Okay, we're going to finish rating these fad diets. Ready?
Yeah.
Weight Watchers.
Oh gosh, I would say 6.
South Beach diet.
7.
Juice cleanse.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You don't think they work?
I think they're okay very temporarily. They are more like an antioxidant, but they don't have fiber in them, and you need protein. You absolutely need protein.
Whole30.
I love Whole30. I think Whole30 is I would give that a 9. I don't know if people can sustain it all the time. So I would say a 9, just because it's hard to stay on forever and ever.
Growing up, what kind of doctor did you take your kids to? And what kind of doctor do you see yourself?
I see myself as a doctor. Just think of me like a family doctor, but if you come into me and you have a sleep issue, I'm not going to give you a prescription to help you sleep better.
Are you going to a doctor for yourself?
I do.
And what kind of doctor do you visit?
Functional medicine doctor. And so a functional medicine doctor, I love these doctors. You and I were talking about like Dr. Hyman earlier, and Dr. Hyman was the one who really established this field in and of itself. And so functional medicine doctors are, again, people who really understand the body very well, but they understand the natural side of the body. So it's more complementary, because we have to put all of this in sight and in order. If you get banged up and you're in an auto accident, of course you're gonna go to doctors who fix you in a certain way. If you have a preemie baby, those neonatal doctors are unbelievable. So it's all a matter of spec. So if I want wellness, the people to go to for wellness understand the complementary side of things.
Well, I asked because we're talking a lot about gut health, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the first line treatments for a lot of illnesses these days are antibiotics, which, as you know, wipe out your entire gut microbiome.
Yes.
So what do you do to prevent getting that first as a first line of treatment? And are the doctors that you're seeing not doing that first?
They're not doing that first. And so the whole thing is creating that soil in your body that we talked about. Because your body is very interesting because you have all this bacteria in your body, and we know it's good and bad, but there's also many, many different types of that bacteria. And that's what you want to make sure that you keep fertilized, that you have all of these different and various types of bacteria, you have them really alive and well. So having prebiotics, having postbiotics in your diet.
Are you taking supplements, or what are like the 3 best foods for your gut health besides bone broth?
I'd say, well, I'm going to say bone broth because I love bone broth because it's got the gelatin in there.
Yeah.
And the gelatin is incredible and there's no better source.
Yeah.
I also like anything that has that fermentation to it is very good for gut health. So things like kimchi and, sauerkraut and all of that are very good for gut health. But I think one of the most important things that you can do is just not eat a lot of food labels, not eat a lot of processed foods. Because the processed foods really do damage that gut lining. Understand that the gut lining is very thin. And because that gut lining is thin, it's easy to damage. And that's why we have to constantly put that spackle in there and eat those proper foods. And again, so things like proteins and things like the vegetables that are all different colors of vegetables, they help the diversity of the gut. And we know that diversity makes a big difference. So eating things like really high quality proteins, high quality fats, understanding that vegetables kind of have 2 levels to them. There's all of the green stuff, which is the fiber that helps move things so you're cleansed and not clogged. And then having the more starchy vegetables, things like, sweet potatoes and so forth, things that have more density to them. I love black rice and things like that give you energy. So there's energy carbohydrates, there's fibrous carbohydrates, there's the healthy fats, and there's proteins, nuts and seeds, and berries. These are the best things that you can eat for your gut health.
So, Dr. Kellyann, what do you eat in a day?
So for me, I eat a lot of proteins, and a lot of those proteins, because I'm busy all the time, you're going to laugh, but I love canned fish. I love different things like, I like sardines, and I actually put them on a skillet and I make sardines on a skillet.
Really?
And it's actually delicious and it's the best thing for your skin. I promise you will feel so good. And it's a freaky thing. I know. I'm gonna get lambast.
So with little kids these days, right?
The
new trend is baby-led weaning, right? Where at 6 months old, instead of giving your kid purees, you give them whole foods that they could like mush in their mouth. And one of the best things is sardines for them. So I've cleaned a lot of sardines off the
so
floor
you're doing
and
this.
off the sink, and I gag. Like I cannot. My husband will eat the sardines. I won't even like clean up the day that we serve sardines.
Oh, when I hear that somebody will actually try and eat these and put them over the skillet and make it, your kids love them?
Love them. Love sardines.
You know what my kids' first food was?
What?
Avocado.
Yeah, it's mushy.
Yeah, it's the first thing. There was a book out back, and gosh, this book was so good, and it talked about whole foods, and it talked about what they're talking about now, but people thought cereals were the best thing.
Yeah,
those
fortified cereals.
Yes. So I love that you're doing this with your kids. This is the best thing I've ever heard.
So in the morning, what do you make for breakfast?
So in the morning, a lot of times I'll fast, and I'll have a matcha, and the matcha, a lot of times I make it myself. And so I have the milk in there from the matcha, and that's usually enough to sustain me.
Whole milk, oat milk?
I use like there's called 3 Trees, or I use an almond milk, but it has to be
pure.
Yes, got to be no carrageenan in it, no additives, no guar gum, none of that stuff. So that's the big thing with by the way, these nut milks, people don't
They all
realize.
have a lot of gums.
They have a lot of gums, and you have to be careful. That's why you can't just go out and get these coffee and these drinks all the time, anywhere you want. You cannot. You have to be fastidious about this because they're filled with junk. And again, your body can land anywhere. I'm telling you, your body can handle so much. Our innate is so powerful and so strong, but it's what you do every day that determines your health. So if you are going to a coffee shop every day and you're getting these gums and you're getting these milks that aren't great, it's gonna crush you. Because here's what I've learned in all of my years, that health comes down to a couple of very basic things. If you were to put all of my patients in a football field and you said, okay, what helped them? What actually moved the needle? It was having gut health restored. It was getting that systemic inflammation down, and it was teaching them how to be a natural fat burner. In other words, really having your blood sugar in check, in order, very healthy, insulin sensitivity. So those are the three, to me, the big markers. And there's things that you can do every day that are going to make a difference.
Do you believe vaccines negatively affect your gut health?
I think, should you vaccinate, I think you have to just be aware that, okay, like any kind of intervention medicine, anything, there's always consequence to medicine. There just is. And so you just have to think, okay, I had this shot, so I'm going to go forward and I'm going to make sure that I really take special care to make sure my gut health is in order after this. There's a lot of things that damage the gut. There's a lot of things, even our emotions, even getting upset and being stressed out all the time, not having sleep, not having enough sleep. It's not just about food. So much of this is about emotional regulation and keeping your emotions, regulated, which is very hard to do, especially when you have kids your age.
Yeah. So you've been called, a pioneer in the beauty from within movement, mm-hmm. right? So what do you think it is that most negatively affects your skin? Is it what you eat? Is it this emotional dysregulation?
I think any kind of hormonal dysregulation is going to affect your skin. I think really the rancid oils, eating oils that are not healthy, make a big impact on your skin. What a difference it makes when you step away. And
is it fast food, or is it like specific oils that you're referring to? Like,
I think even the everyday oils that we use, the sunflower, the safflower, the canola. Canola is used so readily everywhere, even major grocery stores that claim to be healthy, and all their prepared foods, a lot of them use canola oil. But I think a very big difference in skin.
I think Whole Foods sourdough has seed oils.
Yes, bingo. And then for people that, see, the thing about gut health is that you've got to really get it restored. And once you get it restored, you have more levity in the things that you can eat. Even people with gut health, I've noticed that if they steam their vegetables while they're getting their gut health restored, it's much, much easier on the system than having raw vegetables. So there's just a play. It's a time thing with gut health, and it just takes a little bit of time. But as you go along, you say, you know what, I'm going to put kimchi in my refrigerator. And if I have eggs, I'm going to have kimchi with eggs every day, or just one thing, sauerkraut, whatever it is, little by little.
Something fermented on your...
Oh, so I have, right this morning, I had actually, because I wanted my brain function to be really high, I had hard-boiled eggs. And I had a couple of hard-boiled eggs, which are, to me, they make my brain really function well. And so you learn what works best for you, even before interviews and before you learn what makes your body really there, like in the state.
What's your skincare routine?
My skincare routine is I clean my face every day.
With what?
So I have, there's a brand that I absolutely love. It's called Biologique, and it's a toner that I use, and I love their toner. And I love to wash my face with this. It's called Yanka, and I've used it for many years. And it's a really kind of mild cleanser that I use. And then on my skin, I use a serum. I use different kind of serums.
Hyaluronic acid?
I do. I love hyaluronic acid. To me, I place so much less emphasis on topical. I use a lot of red light therapy. I do a lot like this. I just went into this machine this past weekend. I tried it. It was great. It was a machine that you lay in and they have red lights and they have all this vibratory things
You believe
happening.
that really works?
I definitely felt better. I was fatigued and I felt better. It definitely felt
Do you
better.
think it's just like a mental thing? I always think this after like a treatment or something like red light, like is it actually working or is it just like my brain thinks it's actually working?
Well, I think that helps if your brain thinks it's working, but I do think that these things tend to be restorative to the cells. I do think that they're restorative to the cells.
Do you wash your face in the morning and the evening?
I only wash it once a day because that's what works best for me. So I'll wash my face. I'll use the cleanser. I'll use a cleanser on my skin. Then I'll use a serum. And then I use a moisturizer. And I keep it very quick and easy, and I don't go through a whole lot. I use Valmont a lot of times. There's a moisturizer called Valmont that I like. It's very fresh and it's very light. And I'll use that on my skin. I switch on and off a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't have one tried and true where I say this is absolutely the only thing that I'll use. You keep iterating? Yeah, I keep iterating. And then there's my friend, Nicole Brill. She has a vitamin C line. She actually created it for Melania. And it's a vitamin C line that I use sometimes. It's like scrubs and different things. She makes them herself. So I'll use that. But I'm always in the flow. I'm always
trying the next best thing.
I am. And I really do believe so much of skincare has to do with what you eat and how you live and how you think and all of that kind of stuff, that I don't get too obsessed.
I agree. I use a Dove bar of soap. So
yeah.
I'm not exactly like the poster child.
Yeah. So that's exactly, it's like, but you're out in the world and you're positive and you're talking and you're engaging and, you have a healthy family life, a healthy situation with your husband. All of that, I can't even, there's no way around the fact that when your cells feel that kind of joy and that kind of, it trumps everything.
So do you believe in like spending a ton of money on skincare if it's more about, I would say, your gut microbiome and your general emotional regulation? I'd
say you can buy really good grocery store brands or drugstore brands. You absolutely can meet every need that you have in the drugstore. I just believe that. And so people send me things, or I might get something. And again, I'm a lot older than you are. So I feel like as we get older, maybe our needs will change. So maybe I need something a little richer that I used to have, or a little bit different on the skin. So I go high-low. So if I want to buy something luxurious, I'll buy something luxurious. And I do once in a while. But I firmly believe every need you meet that you need can be in the drugstore. Do you
believe in the 80-20 rule versus what you eat? And
I do believe in the 80-20 rule. I think it's very important. I think that your body can be adaptive. And we don't see, here's the thing. Once we start getting really obsessive, it defeats every purpose. And I've seen this in young women so many times. It's actually a clinical diagnosis. When you become so wrapped around every single thing you eat, it's just not pleasant.
When's the last time you ate fast food?
I was 30 years old.
Really? Mm-hmm. You haven't had like McDonald's French fries since?
No. I just have no interest. When I was in school.
Do you Uber Eats?
Yes, I Uber Eat all the time. I Uber Eat all the time.
But just not McDonald's.
I just don't eat McDonald's. I'll get different things. There's a place called Dig here. It's like paleo.
Yeah. They still use seed oils though.
Yeah, they're not perfect. It's very, very difficult. So this is where you have to understand. This is what everyone has to know. It's what you put in your habits. It's your habits that make a difference. I can order from a restaurant and have some seed oils in there. My body will survive. I can go out to a restaurant and I'm not going to freak out because if I have a dinner party at a restaurant, which I often do, I will say, please don't use seed oils in what you cook for my guests tonight. I can do that. But if I'm going out I'm not going to freak out because there's seed oils. I just can't. But I'm aware. The whole thing is to be aware and don't put it in your daily beat.
So in every podcast episode so far, we've played Would You Rather.
Oh, I love games.
Okay. Would you rather look 20 years younger, but feel your current age, or feel 20 years younger, but look your current age?
Feel. 100% feel.
Would you rather drink bone
Can
broth?
I have both? Can I pick both?
No.
Okay,
It's
well,
one or the other.
just thought I'd ask.
Would you rather drink bone broth in your morning coffee or eat bone broth flavored ice cream?
Oh, ice cream all day, every day. Can it be coconut ice cream?
No, bone broth ice cream.
It's
Bone broth flavored. Would you rather have bone broth in your coffee in the morning
coffee in my morning.
or bone broth flavored ice cream?
Okay, I'm going to go for coffee.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is a tongue twister.
Would you rather invent the next superfood or discover the real fountain of youth?
Fountain of youth.
Would you rather have your favorite meal cooked for you every day or never have to do another workout again?
Oh man. Now that took some thought. Come on now. I would actually love to have my meals cooked for me. I am telling you, that is a dream. Do you hear that? A dream. It's a dream.
It's a luxury.
Oh.
Would you rather always have to carry a giant pot of bone broth everywhere you go or only wear gym clothes to every event?
I'm bringing that pot of bone broth and I'm singing the gospel everywhere I go. Try and stop me. Nobody can shut me up.
Did you make your first bone broth yourself?
I did.
How many tries did it get to make it perfect?
Well, I was really freaked out when I first made it because remember, there was none in the store. There was nothing. So I was like, totally, this is rogue. All of the fat that rises to the top, which we know now is gorgeous, but that film freaked me out. So it took a couple of trials before I realized, but when my skin started responding and
did your kids say enough bone broth at one point?
Enough is enough. They're like, I got a couple of eye rolls. I'm not going to lie. I definitely got eye rolls growing up, but now, that's what I'm saying with your kids. Like you got to stick to it, be you, and just make sure everything is in order and a well-oiled machine. Cause now they're so proud.
What's your guilty pleasure food that might surprise people?
My guilty pleasure food. I love cookies.
I like real sugar or
grain free.
Okay.
Okay. I have to be honest. I mean, I love cookies, but it's the grain free ones I love.
The prepackaged ones?
I do. I like there's a ton of brands, but the big thing for me is like, I haven't had gluten in years and years and years and years because it makes me exhausted. And I know a lot of people feel like, eat everything.
Do you eat einkorn?
I do. So I just have to be very careful about grains for me. And once your gut is healed, you really can handle a lot more of that. A lot of the reason why people can't handle the grains is because of the type of grains we use and because their gut health isn't in order. And even though my gut health is in prime order, I still can feel the impact. It just makes me, I just know it's not right for me.
So when you cook with flour, or do you not at all?
I use alternative flours. I use things like arrowroot. I'll use maybe coconut flour. I'll use other things. And I used to bake a lot more when my kids were small. I baked all the time. And I put it in one of my cookbooks. It's called Oh My God, Chocolate Chip Cookies. And it was a blend of alternative flours with chocolate chips. And it's delicious. It's really, really good. My kids love them. They're good. So there's ways around it. So, but if I'm in the grocery store and it's grain free, it's gluten free, and it has a few ingredients, I'm a sucker for it.
So you're not allergic to gluten, it's just a preference based on gut health?
I'm not allergic. It's just a preference because a lot of those grains are hard on the gut. I am always thinking about gut health. But it's not an obsession. It's more like it's so a part of who I am now. I'm so tuned to it that I know.
Second nature.
It's second nature that I'm on autopilot. So
if you were a mom making food for your children, would you pick einkorn, which is that most ancestral grain now that they're selling? I don't know if it's just a marketing ploy, but I'm certainly buying it.
Yeah, it's definitely ancestral.
Or do you buy a grain-free option? Do you buy the coconut flour or almond flour?
For kids, it would depend on the kid to me. It would depend, probably both, but it would depend on the kid to me. Are there learning disabilities? Do they have any patterns that I need to know about that would make a difference in my decision? So for every mom, it's very subjective. But a little bit, I think for kids can handle a lot. And, I call it the cupcake theory. Like they go to school and everybody's birthday, there's a cupcake.
And there's Domino's pizza.
There's the pizza and the cupcake theory.
I don't know why we're doing that though.
It's unbelievable to me. And it's still going on, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's still going on.
Every party has the same food.
There's a next MAHA movement how do we get the cupcakes out of the classroom, but still have joy, still let them feel joy? Because this is all anchoring. This is all it's all psychology.
Yes.
So you got to do a replacement act.
Mm-hmm. What's one wellness trend you wish would just go away?
A wellness trend that I wish would go away. My God, you're asking really good questions, Katie.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm getting tripped up. I interview all the time. So a wellness trend that I wish would go away. Oh my gosh, I'm so into all the wellness trends that are out there right now.
We can go back in time.
Oh, go back in time?
Because I feel like now it's finally like what you've been saying your whole career has come to fruition, right?
Oh, you have no idea. It's unbelievable. So I just think that a lot of the drinks, for me, the thing that got me was like all the Cokes and the Pepsis and the Crystal Light.
Celsius
and all
is
that.
now a big thing.
And now Celsius, these are bad news, people. They're bad news. I remember I had one patient that came in and I looked at his phasic angle, which is, it's a measurement of the cell, but it basically tells me how hydrated they are. And he said, well, I don't know what you mean, Dr. Kellyann. I drink a lot. I said, well, tell me what you drink. And he said, I drink like 2 big pictures of Crystal Light every day.
Oh.
And so he thought he was doing the right thing. So I think we're wiping that out. So a wellness trend is that I would like to do away with is thinking that you can get energy from these drinks, or thinking that you can enjoy something that's so sweet that you're drinking and it's not going to set a pattern in everything else you desire. It changes your desirability. When you're drinking something that's sweet all the time, your brain, your reticular activating system is going to start looking for where can I get that sweet, sweet, sweet. And that's not good training because we're only as good as our metabolism. We have got to worry about metabolic flexibility and metabolic health.
We talked a little bit earlier about how X and TikTok and Instagram are really big about getting information out there to people. Yet there still are very big accounts of moms who are, I think, in a good heart, making dinner for their children or showing their grocery hauls each week, but showing a lot of processed items with not a lot of fruit and vegetables. How are we reaching those people in, say, lower income communities or who aren't, you know, as up on all of these wellness trends and teaching them what's in the grocery store and encouraging them to choose different options when that education is a steep curve?
It's a very steep curve and it's a great point. And I used to have my boots on the ground. I had a brand called Super Kids Wellness, and I would go around to all the schools in the area and I would teach them. I would have all of these characters, and each character represented an organ of the body, and each character had a personality. And I would talk about how each food, would affect these organs, would affect your system to little kids. And then we go, it was on a farm, these farms. I went to area farms, and the kids would go out and they'd harvest and pick these foods. I cannot tell you how many times we brought back harvest and kids had never seen the vegetables that we had picked before. When you realize the state that we're in and to the extent of which action needs to be taken, they would literally have no idea what the simplest vegetables were. I had one mom came back to me and I was talking about different breads and different, grains and different breads. And she came back and she said, I would appreciate if you didn't talk about these things because I can't afford to give my family these breads that you're talking about. What a lesson that was for me. What a lesson. And if that doesn't make you want to stand up and make a difference, because there are a lot of kids that need our help. So how do you start? You got to start on the community level. One community has to set fire to another, and it has to happen with your boots on the ground. Has to happen with your boots on the ground.
Speaking of boots on the ground, we are in New York City today. There's an election coming up soon. What do you think of the mayoral candidates? Does Mamdani have your vote?
No.
What do you think happens to New York if he wins?
Guys, look around us. This is the city that I love so very much. And I'm here every day and I see the everyday effects of every decision that's being made and the type of leadership that we need for this city, the most incredible city of the world. It's very upsetting to me to even talk about this because I love the city so much, and it's the policies. People that are making decisions have to understand the policies behind the decisions that they're making. And this city needs some big time leadership because the potentiality is here. And
why do you think New York is so lost?
New York is very polarizing. The players in New York, the people who live here, it's very polarizing city. Why is it lost? It's lost because everyone's confused. There's a lot of confusion. And we still have a lot. I probably shouldn't be talking about this too much.
Okay.
Because I could talk about it forever because you're hitting on a spot.
Okay.
But I have to be careful about.
I was going to end that one. I'll go 2 more questions.
Yeah.
I see you're wearing an Oura Ring.
I live by biotech. My dream is to create biotech that really makes a difference because this is, okay, when you talk about like wellness trends that you love, I talked about what I don't like, which is the sugary drinks that claim to give you energy. What I've learned with patients is that empirical data makes a difference. When they could see something in front of them that showed that kind of shift, wow, this has helped me with my sleep so much.
How so?
Because you see exactly how much sleep you've gotten, and then you can think about, what did I do last night? Even with alcohol, things like that, like what an impact that has. And if somebody's in perimenopause or menopause, they'll really learn the things that are going to make a difference between your stress profile, and your sleep profile. And also, I'm a big advocate of making sure I get my steps in every day. And if it's late at night and I'm back and I haven't got my steps in, sometimes I'll just walk around the apartment and get my steps in, because the steps have made a really big difference.
Have you tried like the Whoop or anything else? Or are you like a loyal Oura?
I've tried them all, but I like the Oura the best. It's just the best information for me, and it works the best, and it's low maintenance and it's easy. Low maintenance and easy, and gives me what I need.
Do you believe the new data that says 10,000 steps is equal to that of 6,000 steps now?
Yes.
They've lowered it?
Yes, I do. If you study trends about how much people used to walk, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, on average, 25,000 steps a day. That's what people used to walk, about 20 to 25,000 steps a day. And now, we're really pushing for 10. I'd say start anywhere, though. Start anywhere. Like, I know people that say, I can't use this because my Oura Ring's always mad at me. It's showing me that I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not, well, you need to start somewhere, and you just got to start and look at those numbers and look at where and do your best. Just absolutely do your best.
Where did your drive come from to always know more, always learn, to go to medical school?
My whole drive came from the fact that I had endometriosis growing up. And so what that basically means is that you have incredible stomach cramps that are unbelievable every month, to the fact that it really makes it so it impacts. So mine impacted everything in my life, my menstrual cycle, until I learned a lot of things. It impacted everything from going to school to dating to travel to everything. And so every doctor basically said, we should remove this organ, we should remove that organ, or you realize you probably can't have kids. So I was told at 16, I guess it was, 16, that you probably can't have kids.
Were they overprescribing birth control at this point?
And they told me take birth control, and they said take it all the way through. Don't take that break. Just continue to take birth control through and through. And it was then that I knew there's just something inside of me that I knew not to have these surgeries. I wanted to have children. And anyway, I'm so glad that I did what I did, because I have 2 beautiful boys today. And I think if I didn't have that thing inside of me that was curated in that moment, if I didn't have that thing, and the drive to me is I want to have kids. I know I want to have kids. I've always known I want to have kids. So let me figure this out.
Do you think it's a mistake that they overprescribe birth control? I mean, it was when I was growing up, for anything, for acne, for hormone imbalance. They just get on birth control, and that's why our birth rate is so low today, just how much they've prescribed? I
think it messes with your hormones. And I think there's a lot of trickery that's involved in the body when you start taking that kind of medication.
Do you think it's permanent lasting damage?
I think it could be. I think it could be. I think that we need to be very smart about the prescriptions that we're taking altogether. You know, one of the things about birth rates, though, it's like the way a woman has the most success in conceiving, and all, we have so many hormone disruptors that are out there now, and like I said, the women in that age category are very underserved, and a woman has to feel very safe within her body in order to conceive. So between all of the hormone disruptors, between the refined foods, and between the stresses that women are under, I mean, it makes it much more difficult. And in addition to that, you know, the medications that were given along the way.
Do you think the rise of infertility is tied to the gut microbiome and how unhealthy our foods have now become?
It can't not be. It can't not be. The brain in its intelligence to affect everything, you know, to affect even thoughts, you know, the pathway between the brain and the gut is unbelievable. So the gut impacts everything. It impacts everything. It really is our second brain in every way.
And we're going to close with this last question. If you could host a dinner party with 3 people dead or alive, who are you hosting and what are you eating?
Okay, so if I were to have a dinner party and I would host, gosh, oh my God, I would love to have, and I know this is not the most profound answer, but my ancestors are absolutely incredible because the fight that they had in them, and I even look at it with my father without the education and everything else. So I would love to have my grandfather there. I would love to have my grandmom there. I would love to have my children listen to the wisdom. We don't listen to the wisdom of our elders the way what's at their disposal is incredible. And I also think what's happening in the world and all of the mechanics that are out there in the world, we have opportunity now that we never had before. What an amazing time to be my kid's age. What an amazing time. So to have somebody to have my ancestors there, my great grandfather, my great grandmom, and to have somebody like Elon Musk or someone that's really high in tech, that would be the best dinner party ever.
Mind-blowing experience to say we have like a starship going to Mars and, you know,
tell me that
someone from the past. Mind-blowing.
I mean, so to me, that old new wisdom would be the best dinner party ever. And I would have 7 fishes. I would have a really, you know, healthy pasta there. I mean, it would be so joyous. I mean, to me, dinner parties are my favorite way to spend time when it's not work. And I have them often. And I love to get to know.
What's the last great party you've thrown?
The last great party I've thrown, I would say it was in January. I had a big blowout and I had it at one of the clubs here, the Core Club that's local, that's in Midtown. And I had all these people. I had all these people from media and I had friends that I wanted to get to know. My friends are people I wanted to get to know. It was a really good blend of about 40 people. And we all got up. I had made everybody get up and, you know, tell a little story. And it was fun. That laughter is the best medicine,
Thank you so much for doing this today.
Oh, it was so fun. It was so fun. To talk about all of these things and not just health has been great, just to talk about everything.
I think for women today, it's incredibly, confusing and complicated to figure out what's the best food to buy for my children. What should I be putting in my body? How much do I need to exercise when there is just now, contrary to how probably when you were growing up in the industry for what was available to somebody reading a book versus now you open your phone and you scroll and there's 15 different pieces of advice that often conflict with each other. And it's hard to know which one to follow.
That's why you have to go to really trusted sources with anything, even the stuff that you buy. You want to go to trusted sources. And that's why I'm proud of myself and my colleagues that have been in this for a long time, that we've seen it all. And so I do give accolades to all these people I'm seeing on TikTok going to all these different stores and talking about what's good in the store, what's bad in the store. I love it. But you have to stick to the same principles. What is going to heal my gut? What is going to take that systemic inflammation down? What's going to train my body to be a natural fat burner? Because it's against natural body not to have not to have that as a win.
Thank you, Dr. Kellyann.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Katie Miller Podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. We're available every Monday night at 6 p.m. Thanks for joining.